Hello, once again, it's Pastor John Carlo, Senior Pastor of the Christian Pentecostal Church in Staten Island, New York. We've been studying this powerful study on angels. People are very interested in angels, and we're going to see some of the characteristics of the angels and how they affect us. We're going to see also there's going to be two groups. There are going to be faithful angels, and we're going to be the unfaithful angels, we'll get to as well. They also have ranks. Look at some of the ranks we have. Here's the archangels, right? One of them is named Michael. It means who is like God. Wow. Again, Michael is mentioned by name at least 4 separate times in the Bible. We also see at various times and places he was sent with a message. Then we see another group called the cherubim. And they also have a unique way of doing things. Each of them has 4 faces. The face up front is a man. The face on the right is a lion. The face on the left is what? An ox. And the face on the back is an eagle. All of these are symbolic of things. Many of them we're not going to understand. Each has 2 pairs of wings. One pair spreads out from the middle of their back, and the other pair is used to cover the body. They have legs. The Bible tells us about legs of men, but their feet are down or cloven like calves' feet. They also have 4 human hands, one located under each wing. They apparently travel in groups of 4, and outstretched wings of each of the cherubim touches those the remaining 3 companions. Now this gets really difficult in the sense of all of the aspects of these angels. We don't know all the reasoning for it. Only God knows. Then we have a group called the seraphim, right? Which means the burning ones. We see they're only mentioned once in the Bible. And look at the types of what they look like. They have 6 wings, 2 used for cover themselves or their face, and the other to cover their feet, and the 2 to fly by. These groups of angels, the seraphim, proclaim great choruses, in the choruses of majesty of God, crying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts," constantly over and over again. The awesome sound of their mighty praises shake the foundation of the heavenly temple. Wow. Now we know that there were 3 cases of angels that were reported, and 1/3 of the angels, of course, followed the devil. We will also come up across that in our next minutes, our next session. We have a group called the living creatures. Special heavenly beings are some ways similar to both the cherubim and the seraphim. And it seems that their number appears to be limited to 4. It's been suggested that they now hold the privileges of responsibilities assigned once to Lucifer, who lost out. John the Apostle also sees these 4 standing before the shining crystal sea in heaven, surrounding God's throne. Again, this is another group. Each one of these have a different face. One is the face of a lion, one is the face of an ox, one the face of a man, and one the face of an eagle. And they all have some kind of definition, which we hopefully will play when we get to heaven. We'll find out what it's all about. Now notice the one we just spoke about in regard to the lion, the ox, the man, and the eagle. Matthew represents himself, in the book of Matthew, he presents himself as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. The second, Mark represents him in the book of Mark as the lowly one. Then we see, thirdly, Luke represents him in the perfect man. And finally, John represents him as a mighty godlike eagle. Again, there are ruling angels as well. We read that they called principalities and powers and thrones and authorities and dominions and might. Notice how many different groups of angels we read about, each one of them specifically not only set up, but also in a specific dynamic way. They had been created. There are guardian angels. We see many cases where people have somehow come across guardian angels, and they found that they had saved them from dire situations. Some even saved from death. Look what it says here in Matthew 18:10. Take heed that ye despise not of these little ones. For I say unto you that in their heaven of angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Now we also see that there are ministering spirits that are sent forth to minister to them that had heirs of salvation. Remember, we spoke about this, that angels are there in many cases to protect us, to lead us, and so on and so forth. Angels, of course, are associated with horses at some times. And it says, and it come to pass as they were still went on and talked that, behold, there were appear a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and separated them. And Elijah went up in a whirlwind into heaven. Imagine a kind of ride to heaven. We also see that their appearance is very delicate and detailed. We don't know all the answers, and that's one of the things we'll have to wait for when we get to heaven. Now, we notice their appearance. And it says, this one angel entered into the sepulchre, and they saw him and a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment. And they were amazed. You read that in Mark 16:5. This is after Jesus resurrects. And it says his countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow, and so on. And it came to pass that they were perplexed about this, because two men stood by them in shining garments. We see in Revelation another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud. A rainbow was upon his head, and his face was though it were the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire. Wow. Then we see the seven angels that come out of the temple, having the seven plagues, clothed in pure white, and so on, and linen. All of these angels, again, we can look at them, we can talk about them, but we really don't know that much about them. They even have titles and names. One group is called ministers, ministering angels. Then we have a group that's called a host, meaning a crowd of people in Genesis 22 and 1. Joshua speaks about this. Then we see chariots. Imagine we've seen this in the Word of God as well. And again, they are actual chariots that move quickly through the universe and so on from heaven. Then some are called watchers. And this speaks of angels that watch over us and so on. And then how about this one? Sons of the Almighty. Again, it's interesting that angels, like human beings, are described as sons of God. In the Old Testament, we see that angels were called sons of God, while men were still called servants of God. In the New Testament, it flips. It says in the New Testament, we are called servants of God in the New Testament. And this is again reversed by the angels in the Old Testament. One of the names that are given to them is called Holy Ones, in the reverence to their separation and their use of the way of God. They work in ministry. Imagine this. These angels have a ministry to take care of. Their activities in heaven, it tells us they worship the person of God constantly, constantly, constantly. And they observe also at times the people of God. And there are many sections in the Bible talking about how angels have been there to watch over us, even to interfere sometimes and protect us from harm. We see that they also are part of the prophetical ministry of God. They rejoice in the works of God. In his work of creation, they rejoiced. They were watching all these things that were happening. Again, in order to really understand angels, we're going to have to wait till we get to heaven, because it's way beyond our thought process. Even in the earth, we see that some of the things that they do for us, and sometimes we're going to find out on the other side when we're going to look about angels that had turned away from God and what happened to them. Look at some of the things that they do for us. They protect us. We've talked about a guardian angel, right? Look what it says in Psalms 34. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. We have an angel, a bodyguard, wherever we go. And then he tells us also that he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. In other words, there are times where we may meet people that look like human beings, but they could be angels in disguise that are bringing a message or warning us about something. And then we see in the Word of God, there were many times when we read these type of things, angels protected Lot from the Sodomites. Angels protected Elisha from the Syrians and so on. At times, angels come and comfort people. Elijah was under a juniper tree, and the angel came and touched him and told him, arise and eat, and helped him to get back in sync, so to speak. Many times, angels also deliver. Look at it here in the book of Acts, in the 5th chapter, in the 19th verse. But an angel of the Lord by night opened the prison doors and brought them, the apostles, forth. Wow. A prison break, right? There's another one where behold, an angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shone in the prison, and smote Peter on the side. I guess Peter was sleeping. And woke him up and says, get going, right? Arise quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. Again, angels many times keep us from harm. And we see that they all may keep us, not only keep us from harm, but protect us from harm. How about the unsaved? Angels were sent to judge the Sodomites. They judged the Assyrians. They judged the Herod and so on. And they will judge the earth during the tribulation. Wow. They hold back the four winds in the book of Revelation. They pronounce the 7 trumpet judgments. They cast Satan and his angels out of heaven. They announced that the eternal hell awaiting all unbelievers. So angels are not just here with positive things. Many times we see it's negative things as well. They predict the fall of Babylon and so on. All these things are in the Word of God. Will we always understand angels totally? No. Maybe not even heaven. But they are God's sons, and I can't say daughters, it just says sons. But the thing is that God has these angels protecting us, leading us, guiding us, and helping us through life's emergencies and dangers as well. Protecting us from the devil and his angels as well. We're going to talk about next week. So God bless you, and we'll see you next week.